What if I told you there was a legal and moral way of stealing your competitors' customers with Google Ads? Most brands think stealing customers from their competitors is all about creating ads that talk bad about their competitors and in a very bad light. But all this really ends up doing is it ends up devaluing your own brand's image, which is why you never want to do something like this. Now, the strategy I'm about to mention in this video works regardless of the niche or industry you are in, but it will only work if you follow it step by step. Now, this strategy I like to call the competitor search campaign strategy. It's basically a search campaign which goes after your major competitors. And although this is a fairly common kind of campaign type a lot of brands nowadays run, the main issue is these brands don't run them the right way. They either go too broad with these search campaigns or they go too narrow, and it ends up being completely unprofitable. And I have the perfect example of this competitor search campaign in effect where we developed a strategy which ended up working extremely well and is actually spending about $10,000 every 30 days, generating almost a 3x ROAS for a brand where the break even is a 1.8x. So it's more than profitable at this point of time. And we are actually starting to scale this competitor search campaign. So I'm going to go over all of this, scaling, how to set it up, what's the best approach, strategy, etc. But essentially, a competitor search campaign, again, is a campaign which goes after your competitors in terms of their brand names, their URLs, so on and so forth. It's very simple, fairly straightforward, but the way you set it up makes all of the difference. First and foremost, in terms of the actual top level strategy, you want to ensure your competitor search campaign is a smart bidding based campaign. You don't want to be running these competitor search campaigns with manual bidding because number one, you don't really know what the ideal bid should be. And number two, you don't want to guess random high bids because that's a great way to end up raking your own costs up unnecessarily for no reason. No, sometimes what you will notice when you do smart bidding for a campaign like a competitor search campaign, your CPCs are still through the roof. However, these CPCs right here are all based on internal data the algorithm has from your campaigns, from all of the databases Google uses to understand these metrics. So that's a much better approach than you randomly going in and guessing some random bid. So smart bidding technically is the right approach. And you want to be setting a smart bidding based restriction based around your profitability level. So you don't want to get too greedy with a campaign tab like this and set it too low because otherwise it will overspend without really generating much amounts of profits at all. But you don't want to be too strict on this as well. You want to keep it right smack in the middle where the break-even ROAS here is a 1.8x, but we kept it at 250% or a 2.5x because that's the average ROAS this brand generates in any given period of time, even the low season. So that's kind of what we went with. Now that's the top level strategy. Everything else in terms of the top level, it's fairly simple, fairly straightforward, as you would just strategize around any other search campaign for that matter. It's going after new customers as well as existing ones, and we are targeting actually multiple different countries here. You can get away with a competitor search campaign going after multiple different countries. That's essentially no issue at all. But now diving a bit deeper into the actual ad group strategy, and as you can see, there's only one major ad group here, by the way. There's a lot of different keywords which we are targeting here. All of these keywords are for different competitors essentially within this industry. But one strategy you want to keep in mind is although there's different keywords and whatnot here, we're revolving around two major match type strategies, and that is number one, exact match, and number two, phrase match. Exact match is essentially when somebody has to exactly type in what keyword you have targeted here. For example, if your competitor is on Amazon.com, you want to exactly within brackets type in Amazon.com, and only when somebody types on Google Amazon.com with no words before or after will your ad rank. Second is phrase match, where it's in quotation marks. So if you put quotation mark Amazon.com quotation mark, then there could be a word or two added after Amazon.com or before, and your ad could potentially still rank there. Now, the keywords you use here, those number one should be based around your major competitors, but also number two, they should be targeting things that go beyond just the URL or the brand name itself. For example, some of these keywords were targeting brand name and then the word reviews after. Others were actually targeting maybe one of their best-selling product in there as well, if that's exactly a product we sell too. So it's either or with these two approaches. You don't want to go too broad with this. You don't want to do something too crazy because then what will end up happening is you'll end up ranking for unnecessary keywords, and that's a great way to lose a lot of your ad spend unnecessarily in this situation. So we're keeping things very simple, and as you can see across these keywords, majority of these are not really returning any types of revenue, and that's because these keywords that we've added for these brands, maybe they're too low, the search volume is not there, etc., whatever the case may be. That's why you want to add in as many brands as possible. Ideally, you want to add in between 3 to 10 competitors. Of course, the more you have, the better it is. But that's essentially the strategy you want to take when it comes to actually targeting individual keywords. Now, moving on to the actual ad itself that you should have. Again, we keep things fairly simple here. Our ad itself, first of all, is running at a 5% CTR, which is fairly decent considering we're targeting our competition. Second, what we are doing for the ad itself is we're talking about how our brand is ideal, how our product is ideal, based around solutions, maybe based around emotions, if that's what your product targets. But since ours is more health-based, this is essentially targeting the solutions that our product provides and how it can improve the user's life, benefit them, so on and so forth. So it's all about just talking about benefits and how this product can bring value to their life. That's it. We're not talking bad about our competitors. We're not doing anything to make them seem worse than they are or whatever the case may be, because all we care about is just coming in as a natural listing on Google. We want to appear as if it just so happened that they were searching for this competitor's products and then we just happen to rank there, maybe because Google thought we should rank there. That's how the user thinks, because they don't have intricate details into how Google Ads works. So that's essentially what you want to be doing. Again, stay away from talking smack about your competitors, stay away from bad mouthing them, doing anything that can cause your audience to kind of doubt your own morals and doubt your own values, because you want to always appear as a high quality brand. But what you will start to notice, and this is a little bit of a bonus, but once you start running these competitor search campaigns, you will notice your competitors start running their own competitor search campaigns for your own brand name. This often happens as competition starts to increase, as these new competitors enter the market as well. So the best way to deal with this is actually to run a brand search campaign. This is essentially a search campaign that's targeting your own brand name. Again, very similar approach as you would do here, but that one I do recommend going with the more manual bidding based strategy. But that will prevent your competitors from attacking your brand in this manner and then stealing your customers, because obviously once they notice that you are doing it to them, they will start doing it to you as well if they have a good Google Ads team. Which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some help scaling your brand to the next level with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's potentially work together to scale your brand and beat your competitors with Google Ads. But long term, once you start getting some decent traction from these campaigns, you will notice that Google actually is able to fully spend all of your budget on these keywords, considering the fact that there is search volume there. So as you can see here, we're running at almost $400 a day just targeting competitors. That's a pretty significant amount. We're generating decent amounts of conversions every single day. And you want to gradually treat this as a normal campaign, scale it every 7 to 14 days, optimize the back end, get rid of any bad keywords as you normally would, and just follow the generic optimization process you normally would without doing anything crazy. Again, every 7 to 14 days, you'll need to be looking into optimizing and scaling. But that's pretty simple, keeping things very straightforward, not going too fancy with the approach is what will scale your brand with these competitor search campaigns. But again, if you run a brand doing over $50,000 per month in revenue and you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.